Free to Be show is sponsored by Replenish Me membership. Show up powerfully. With monthly webinars, meetups, and coaching sessions, you can replenish online and relieve your stress and resolve your issues. Whether you are trying to recharge your entire staff or just seeking a community of support, empower yourself today with the Replenish Me membership. And now for tonight's show. Hello and welcome to the Free to Be show. I'm so excited to introduce you to yet another amazing person who has taken the dive to free themselves. Today I have the pleasure of introducing you to Toni Jones, and I was introduced to her through her music on a recommendation of a friend as I was getting ready for one of my events. And I was so specific. Listen to the requirements for the music, okay? I was like, the music has to be high vibration, high quality message, conscious mindfulness, acknowledging the core and depth of a woman's soul, love, and existence in the world, and no derogatory language. And voila, she introduced me to you, lovely and beautiful Toni Jones. So I want to welcome you to the Free to Be show.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm glad I made the cut.
That was kind of high, you know, it's like, that's super specific.
Right? Super.
So I want to just dive straight in and ask you, Toni, what is it that you had to free yourself from to do what you're doing now?
I would have to say I had to free myself from everything and everyone. The pattern of being attached to everything and everyone, you know, and knowing that life is precious and deserves to be present for you to be present with. It deserves your presence because that's the way you can truly enjoy freedom. You know, it's so much going on in the world, so much going on in our lives and with people that we love. But if we're in the present moment, all that's real to me is talking to you right now. All that's real to me, to my sight, is the space and how I feel, what I'm looking at. That's the only thing that's real. Everything else is imagination and memory. That's a lot of freedom because you don't have to put your cognitive, emotional real estate on something that's outside of your present moment. And I think that gives me so much permission to always allow myself in freedom, you know? And so I would definitely say what it cost me was my attachment in myself.
But that was a price that you were willing to pay. Well, let's put it this way, right? Because words are important. I'm listening to your music, so that was an investment worth making.
It was definitely worth the investment. It cost everything and every drip drop, you know, but it was definitely worth it because I have freedom. I'm free. Nothing belongs to me. No one belongs to me. I own no one. I don't even own myself. But in the present moment, I get to be whoever I want to be. I get to choose my experience emotionally and mentally. I get to be the one to care for my life in the present moment, no matter if I'm experiencing the darker side of emotions or the light side of emotions. And so it's been worth the investment because I now know that no matter what comes up from her, even if it's old timelines of how I used to react or respond or get triggered, now the freedom has allowed me to give me a choice, free will to choose who do I want to be in this moment. Do I want to be the old timeline of Toni Jones, or do I want to be the true timeline of who I am, which is freedom? That's worth it.
Totally worth it. I'm like, the true timeline. I'm hearing that. So, and you said that you were able now to make choices in the moment. You know, so many of the women that I work with, they, like you said, they're swinging between past and future, right? But the truth is now.
The truth is now. The truth is now. And you constantly get to be the student of that, a student and teacher of it, if you will, you know? And so I think that, you know, we have to be gentle with ourselves because we have decades of conditioning. We've inherited a lot of trauma, you know, to be attached to, you know, defeat and victimizing ourselves. So, you know, we're the first generation of daughters that get to heal what our ancient mothers and our ancestors didn't have. They couldn't, they wouldn't, and didn't have the access to heal. So, you know, but our ancient mothers did know a lot about healing, but some of our ancestors didn't have access or to time and space to do so. And so we're their first generation of daughters. We have access to the information. We have access to community and peers and the data. And, you know, and with this year of like, you know, and again, you know, we range from different lifestyles, but this year has slowed a lot down. So, and I'm sure for some, it didn't, but for the most part, we had a lot of time and space to take in that data and assessment to say, okay, how do I need to heal? What doesn't feel true in my life? To get present, you know?
So, what are some of the things that you use to heal yourself?
So some of the things that I've used to heal myself, I would definitely say curiosity of like, where is the information? Who do I need to listen to? Where are the books? Who are the gurus? It was just like, I am in so much pain and this pain feels like home, but I can't, it's like having an itchy sweater on and you can't get it off. It's like, you're in your body and it just can't get out of heartbreak. You can't get out of insecurity. Like, so for me, it was like, where is the information? Show me the information, you know, not show me the money, show me the information. You know, because I have to get out of this. I am too dope to not be happy, you know, and not be free. Like I'm designed to be free. And I can't be in bondage and stronghold to my memories of my past and traumas and fears and anxiety of the future. And so curiosity has definitely been my plug. Google, you know what I'm saying? Google, I would definitely say, God, you know, it's so important to have that space for divinity, you know, openness to knowing that there is a source to all life that you can connect to intimately. I would say information, you know, just information, just like, you know, reading and watching, you know, listening to podcasts and finding different people, you know, who know about what you're going through. Some of those people are Dr. Joe Dispenza, Dr. Nicole from the Holistic Psychologist, Byron Katie from the School of Work. Those type of people who've done a lot of research and study and, you know, in creating modules that are applicable for the everyday modern mind was crucial to my process in healing. I will also say, you know, stillness, practice, meditation. I'm very careful of giving like universal recipes of like, this worked for me, it's definitely guaranteed to work for you.
Yeah.
But if you have a brain, you must have meditation in your life. You have to. There's so many styles, there's so many ways of practicing it, but all in all, it starts with stillness. You know, no matter how much the brain is all over the place, it starts with stillness. I will definitely say the point of entry is practicing that stillness and meditation. But those are kind of like some of the things: curiosity, information, God, and what was the last thing I said?
Stillness.
Meditation, stillness. Yeah.
Yeah. But I would have to say, looking through your Instagram, it was quite a journey. So, I mean, when you say stillness, I noticed that you found a new form of play, right? And so that was an interesting journey in itself. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? Because I'm bringing this up because women, I think Black women in particular, we take ourselves super seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And I just love that you're like, I'm going to play. I'm all about play. You check me out. I roll down the hill with my kids. You know what I mean? So I'm
Yeah.
like all about play. So tell me,
Yes.
what was your journey with play?
My journey with play is, as a child, that's what I did. It's part of your schedule in school, and then somehow, some way that's not a priority anymore, and you kind of forget it, and like play becomes like fun. Like it's like fun times with friends or clubbing or like hanging out. It's like whatever social standards or what society defines as fun, and that's what becomes fun in play. And so last year I had what a lot of spiritual teachers call the dark night of the soul. And I think it's not the dark night of the soul. I call it the dark night of the ego. And so I had to lose the version of myself that was attached, like my identity was wrapped around being valuable to everyone else. And so I was faced with a divine question of, who are you if all the world problems were solved? Who are you then? Where's your value then? And when I couldn't answer that question, I was kind of shook to my core, because I noticed that much of my life was like, I know how to change people's lives. I know how to do this. And I want to change this for women. And I want to do this for the world and for young people, because I was good at it. Not only was I good at it, some of my needs were met, like sense of belonging, needing to be needed. Some of the things that you learn through your childhood trauma or experiences, I had some of those needs getting met by always bringing value to people. And so when I had to explore that question, who am I without being valuable to anyone? That's when it became a point of entry to like pleasure, play, just becauseness, doing things with no goals, and discovering, like eating fruit slow. Like I literally was intentionally, like early this year, I was intentionally eating like fruits slow. It would take 3 minutes just to eat an apple, like, or 5 minutes or 10 minutes to eat a banana. It was just taking in all the sensation of like, what am I hearing when I'm eating this fruit? What am I feeling when I'm eating this fruit? How does it feel going down my, like, because it was very critical. Like it was a life or death situation for me to take in pleasure and play. So my point of entry, if I was to say what started me off with like re-enrolling in that, was definitely pain and trauma and not knowing who I was without being valuable to the world. And it was like, if I was my only customer and client, what will I create? If I was the only person in the world, well, how would I live? If my purpose was to just be happy, what will I do? And so those questions, again, that curiosity piece, really, like I call it sacred curiosity, because you have to go deeper into to realize your truth and sift through all the stuff that you learned as you. And play for me is just, oh my God, the best thing. It's the best thing ever. So that's how I got into it. What it has looked like for me is integration. Like, how do I integrate life where life feels like play? So in between work, in between, like, I do think like my work setting is like plants. Like I'm on the floor, it's tea, it's pictures of me, plants and oils and just things that are like toys to me. You know what I'm saying? Like rocks and just cute tinklers, like trinket
Yeah.
things that makes me feel girly and stuff, I make sure that I'm feel comfortable, like it's cold outside, and I've been doing a lot of cold therapy this year to help my nervous system. And so I just came outside and it's winter, so it's like cold, and I didn't have any shoes on, and I just had a tank top and shorts, and I was hula hooping,
Hmm.
and I generated my own heat. You know what I'm saying? And it was
Yeah.
fun to watch myself integrate the coldness and the play, So I essentially say, whatever feels good to you, do that. Activate your body, play with children. Children are the GOAT for getting present. You struggle with presence, children will take you there very fast.
Yes.
So yeah.
Wow.
I can literally talk so much more about play because I'm such an advocate for it. I think I'm gonna add that to my title. It's like play advocate because
Yeah, I think you should. I think you should be the play advocate for women.
yeah,
That's your new title.
that's my title. Period.
I love it. We're going to be right back and talk more about what you're up to now. Relationships were meant to be a reprieve, not a weight in your life. It is a pleasure, not a pain. It is life-giving, not soul-sucking. However, the sad reality for many women is that it is life-draining, soul-sucking endeavor. Why? Because you've been taught that relationships fill a void within you. You have been told that you need to serve and nurture others. It becomes your validation, badge of honor, and a symbol of your worth. You've been taught to be codependent. Did you know it doesn't have to be that way? You can feel your own void, be your own validation, be your own symbol of worth. Replenish, serve, and nurture yourself. This month on the Free to Be show, I have gathered a panel of women from around the world to define, deconstruct, and dismantle codependency. This powerful panel of women who have been on that journey themselves so that you can follow in their footsteps. Join us. All right, so we're back, and so Miss Play Advocate that we've decided. So what does that job description really look like? What are you doing? I know that in your former career, you were a life coach, and on your website, it says that you wanted to create, I'm going to read this. It says, she hopes to inspire women to become more conscious about their well-being in a culture that drowns women's entrepreneurship and empowerment with workaholism. Wow. So what
Mm-hmm.
does that look like?
Yeah, I think music is a very powerful tool. My academic background is psychology, and I'm a neuroscience nerd. So I love studying human behavior. Like I'm like obsessed with it. And so for me, understanding the research and science behind music and knowing that music has a legacy of medicinal purposes and use, I've incorporated that in a way where at the push of play, women can practice their well-being, mental health, spiritual invitation and practice. And so what does music do? It gets you in your body. It immediately goes into your mood, immediately goes into your ego and spirit. And so it's one of the most powerful tools. It hacked racism. And so, you know, I think my role in helping women right now is being creative, my most creative self, with me as my first client, me as my first fan, first member, and so everything I create, I consult myself. Does this feel good or does this feel stressful when I create it? Am I being driven by productivity and greed and destination addiction? Or am I doing this because it's fun and it feels like me being myself? And so for me, being a play advocate is always going back to the body. How do I feel when I'm doing? It's not about what I'm doing. I could have 30 things on my plate on the day, but who am I choosing to be? How do I choose to feel? How do I incorporate and honor my well-being while I navigate 30 things? If I get only 15 of them done, how do I make peace with the other 15 I didn't get done? Do I shame myself? Do I procrastinate and ignore that? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like constantly being the version of myself that loves me, and loves how I feel. And I think we've normalized suffering as a part of life and productivity and, being your best self. Like, in order for you to achieve this, you gotta work, and it's just like, who said that that is the only way? Who said that? And what happens if I stop believing that, and create my own way? And so, for me, I just feel like the music gets women into play in the way it gets them. It gets them in their body, it gets them moving, it gets them singing, it gets them rethinking and imagining and just moving in a more fluid, feminine way. And so that's what play advocacy looks like for me. It's like through my being myself, other women are inspired to be themselves as well, And I
Yeah.
literally get to it literally all happens with the push of play.
Yes. So I just want to give space to that. Like, for our viewers and listeners, did you see the importance of getting into your body? Like, one of the things I always say, especially in my events, is where do you feel that in your body? The reason why music matters, right? This particular event that I just did is called Embody Peace.
Mm.
So I wanted women to know where the peace is in their body. Like, first, when we say the phrase before we listen to the music, where do you feel that? And then once you move to the music and listen to songs like Sanctuary, where does that take you? And do you feel psychologically safe? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so, I love that point. That I have to take that into my life too. Like, I love that you invite women to that. Like, where do you feel it in your body? I do a lot of body visual scans, but
Mhm.
it's to identify where there's any tension or aches or resistance. But to like search out where peace is, like, I immediately thought like, dang, where's peace in my body? And immediately it was like, oh, my chest area.
Yeah.
I feel so much peace right here. And I was like, well, I wonder why I feel peace. My heart chakra is open.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it was just like, oh, wow,
Yeah.
But I think that's so important to invite women into their bodies because you only get one. And, you're literally the chosen one to have a relationship with that because you live in it 24/7. It's like, why not explore the mystery of yourself living in this technology, this physical technology? You get to operate it. So it's like, why not say, where's peace? Where's love? Where's joy in my body? Can I identify that? Who could be a thought partner with me and helping me search that out? I think that's powerful. So thank you for doing that for women.
Yeah. Thank you for, like I said, I needed a partner. Thank you
Mm-hmm.
for the music.
Yeah.
So that leads me to my next question. Do you really, I'm like, I wish I had a machine to measure frequencies. I'm just curious. Do you pick the certain frequencies? There's like certain frequencies for like peace and love and everything. So do you actually measure your frequencies when you're creating the music?
I do it in a way from not in a mathematical sense, but in a more, I guess, it's more like psychology. It's like in neurology, it's like I look at the part of the brain that I want to activate
Mm.
and what type of emotions are in that part of the brain. And then from that space, I like, from that place, I kind of create like a coloring book, like what each song, if a song was a person, who would it be? Would it be a child? Would it be a woman? Would it be a man? You know, I give it a whole life, you know, and from that, that's when I start to write and go into the studio. And so when I hear a track or we're building a track or a song, I know, does that feel like that emotion? Does that feel like that personality that I created? Does it feel like that color? You know, so I measure the frequency based on that. But I do want to get into, I did get one song on the album converted to 432 hertz. So
Oh.
I do want to get more into that intentional, like using numbers, either like being able to scale it through numbers, because I haven't done that in the past. But I scale it in a way that's more psychological and
Mm-hmm.
neurological.
Okay. So in October, I did an event called Raise Your Vibration, and we started with mercy. So that's right around 400, and
Mm-hmm.
then we moved up to love and peace. So I was just curious. I was like, this is just so, I don't have any way to measure, but I know that there's certain songs that do have the frequency. So I was just curious to find that out. And I love that you're like actually painting a picture. It's like the brain is a canvas for you. Tell me more about that.
Yeah. Well, when you learn about psychology and neurology, you learn that we're all computers. Like we are, like all technology is like these tiny like computers, phones, all of it. It's tiny replicas of how we operate, how our brain operates, how our body, because our bodies are a communication system of input and output. And so, you know, when you understand your design, you start to be aware of like what influences that, what is capitalizing off of that, you know, how the body responds to different things. And so, like looking at the brain as a canvas, it's like when a child is born, they're a blank slate somewhat, because they kind of take some genetic codes because their parents made them, you know, so they're taking on the embodiment of their parents. However, they don't have any, you know, their subconscious mind hasn't been programmed, if you will. Their ego has not been programmed. And so I look at the ego like a USB drive, doesn't have
Mm,
data on it. But once the environment comes in and once society comes in, once trauma comes in, and you're watching programming, it's you're getting all these data and apps on this USB drive that's teaching you who you are, you know. And so, you know, my music is kind of like, I won't say it's wiping the USB drive clean, but it's helping you remember who you were before you were programmed, which is soul, which is heart,
yeah.
which is truth, which is divinity, which is source, which is energy, which is sound. You know, you just get more aware that you're more. And so, you know, because it's a process is so how can you say, it's like surgery for people. It has to be intentional.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like I told, before I released this latest album, I told people, you have to listen to the first two. Because if you listen to this one out the gate, if you haven't been in your work, it can feel like violent and an invasion, because it's going to bust your self-awareness wide open and you're not going to know what to do. You know, if you haven't been in your work, if you've been in your work, all it does is expand. But if you haven't been in your work, which mean what I mean by work is like ego work, inner child work, shadow work, self-awareness, expanding your self-awareness, it can really feel uncomfortable to say the least. And so take, you know, the brain canvas that I paint, is like understanding that the mind is, and the ego is trying to protect itself. And so I have to find ways to have different words and slang and certain parts of the song. So the ego doesn't resist as much. The beats have to um, resonate with the ego and the soul. It has to feel and move you, but it also has to make your ego bop. Like, yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I can
Because
get with that. Yeah.
I can get with that, because if I didn't have it over music, or I had it over just some new age melody, the everyday person probably won't listen to it. But I'm very conscientious of how the brain operates, including the ego. And I think true self-love is integrating the ego with the soul. So yeah.
Mm. True self-love is integrating the ego with the soul.
Mm.
Wow.
Wow, I didn't even know I said that. You just repeated
I
it.
know you don't know you
Like,
said it. Can I tell you, Toni, your energy is so pure. I've had this podcast for 4 years and I've interviewed like hundreds of people, but
wow.
you are just so pure. I just want to say that. I'm like,
Thank you so much.
whew, you feel so good to talk to.
Thank you.
You
Thank
really.
you.
And I love your equation for helping us to separate from our ego and come back to who we really are.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because a lot of people, like you said, they're in the work, but it takes so long to be in the work without partners. That's the only thing I can think of when I think of your music, because you're right. New age music is great, but I've even used that in my events. And I'm going to tell you, even I wasn't with it. It like I had to practice listening to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
your music just makes it so easy to welcome. It's like, yes, I need to everything she's saying in her song. Yes, that needs to stop,
Yeah. Yes. I so get it. I listened to the album and I'm just like, wow, I channeled this. And
You
because
sure
I
did.
enjoyed it. I enjoyed the music. And I didn't know exactly what I was creating while I was creating, because I was having so much fun. And it was like I
Play
made this
advocate.
album. Yeah, play advocate, that part. When I made this album, it was literally about me. Like, I was creating it for me and I shared it with everyone else. Whereas the other two albums, I created it for everybody else. And so it incorporated my story and concepts that were true to me, but I wanted to help. But this one, it was like, y'all, God got y'all. I'm creating this for me, but I'll share it with y'all. And I'll share it in a way that I want to share it. And so, and because I love people, I love people, and I love the idea of people being invested in their growth in a way that doesn't feel so harsh.
Yes.
And so music is a way to do that. It's a tool. So um that's very gratifying to hear.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it dropped on a beautiful day too, right? I See Me Mantras is the album we're talking about. 10/10/2020 is when that dropped. And was there a reason for you choosing that date?
Yes. World Mental Health. I've been a mental health advocate for 6 years. I struggled with suicidal ideation most of my adulthood. I've attempted a few times, and two of those times I should have died, and last year was one of them. And I was hospitalized from August 18th to September 3rd. And that was part of my dark night of the soul. And I just did not want to be here. I did not want to be here. I had so much back-to-back betrayal, and I just didn't have the emotional strength or mental strength to choose a higher way or conscious way of saying the situation. I was like, I love the idea of no one else having me ever again. I was like, I was just like, and the only way, I can't escape into a cave. So I have to leave my body. I know it's funny now, like, you know what I'm saying? And
Yes,
so
I
it's
do.
like, I was like, oh, I have to leave this body. And then it was like, this is the only way. And experiencing what I experienced in the hospital, I don't think anyone struggling with mental health should ever have to go through that. That was the one of the worst experiences of my life. But it helped me see how mental health is treated, like, poorly, poorly, you know, and people who are in a state of insanity, how they're treated, and how people who are in a state of insanity and people who are struggling with mental health should never be in the same proximity, you know? And so having to experience that, and like less than a year later, seeing who I am, it's like, yo, life is a joke. And so it's like, so for me, releasing that album on World Mental Health Day, it just made me feel like I represent every person who's been labeled crazy, insane, who's been overly medicated, people who are in those facilities, people who are in the mental health space for money, you know, for greed, who are in it carelessly, who are in it just for job. It was just a way of me just taking a stand of saying, like, this is what God can do for the mind.
Mm-hmm.
Mental illness and struggling with mental health is not a crippled thing. It's an opportunity. You can access your superpowers of intuition and discernment and feeling your emotions and pain like no one else can. Like, I think insanity is this society, Western society, right?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? No one should have to work 3 jobs just to get by. Are you kidding me? You know what I'm saying? No one should ever go hungry on a planet that you put a seed in there and abundance of food comes out. Like, no, like, what are we doing? You know, so for me, it was like having a lot of these progressive thoughts and watching the world that you live in normalize insanity as normal. And so, you know, World Mental Health Day, releasing that album, it was like full circle for me. It's like a completion of my journey of being able to identify with people who struggle with it, from anxiety to schizophrenia to, like, even if I didn't experience what they experienced, I still understand their pain because of how they're medicated and how they're treated. It's so bad. And so I think that it was a way of telling humanity, you know, I'm here, y'all, and it's game over. Like, I'm sharing this with y'all. This is what I went through, and I haven't shared this like in my timeline or in a live, like in a personal live or anything. I've shared it with my community in some interviews, but when I get the mic, the story will be told, you know, because it's a lot of juicy details. But last year was very tough for me. And so a lot of people that my network, my friends, not the same. I have a whole new, like, not new, but the people that I rocked with intimately, none of them are in my life anymore. And so it's just so fun to know that those people get to witness what God can do, because everyone thought I was done and over, even me, you know? And so it's just, I laugh about it now because it's funny. It's just
Yeah.
like, you can never be impressed by a season of your life.
Yeah.
You don't know it all. You know, I thought my life
Yes.
was over and it was just beginning,
Yes.
you know?
You know, I came to the realization in 2020 that sometimes you have to fall completely apart
Mm-hmm.
for everything to fall into place. And that's really what you are saying.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. The way falling apart in pain has been branded, it makes it seem as though it's over. And it's really the beginning. Like, it's like when you have a child, when you're birthing a child, it's very painful, a lot of pressure, so intense. It's just like there's no escaping it. You have to push through, you know? And so you may have some relief through medicine or through whatever, you know, but the reality is you got to do the work to get that baby out. you know, and or you're gonna have to get opened up to get that baby out. Like you have to participate in the birth, you know. And so um you know, pain is an opportunity, you know, trauma is an opportunity. And unfortunately, it's been branded in a way as though it's just the end. It's like we should be avoiding that at all costs. Like we have to make decisions to carefully avoid that, because that's just like no. But it's really an opportunity.
Wow. And you know what? I'm glad you brought up birth, because mental health is mistreated. Like women are mistreated. I guess everyone's mistreated. But birth, women are really mistreated. We're first taught to fear our bodies. And then when we're having the baby, you know, it's made to seem like it's, you don't want to feel the pain, but you have to feel the pain in order to participate. I know I have 6 kids, 4 of them were home births. And I chose
Mm-hmm.
that because I wanted to know, because I found out that it's a
Wow.
yeah, it's a conversation. The baby lets you know, mommy, I'm ready. That's the labor pain. And then your body responds by giving you a contraction. Oh, okay. And then you know when to push. Like I got to the point with the last one where I was literally like channeling, like we were having a conversation. I'm like, okay, are you ready? And then my water broke. Should I push? And then, you know, I had another contraction. I pushed. And then I was like, are we done? And I pushed one more time and she's out. And she looked me straight in the face. And then we had the lights on in the room and I turned the lights off. And then she screamed at me, kind of like, didn't you know not to have the lights on, mom? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so so when you're saying that, it's literally, it's exactly like everything, every other rebirth, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
have to have a conversation with that pain. You have to lean
You have to
into
lean.
those emotions,
Mm-hmm.
like really, and face them.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. This has been such a life-giving conversation.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you.
You welcome. You're
Well,
welcome.
I'm gonna insert one of your awesome songs after this, and then I'll come back and listen. You just, if you can give us one golden nugget. All right.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
No, 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 it's babe. No, yesterday. No, 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 it's babe. No much you say. No, 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 it's babe. No, yesterday. No, 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 it's babe. No matter what you say. I am loving myself and others when I say no honestly. No, it's gentle. It is sincere, it is nourishing to all my relationships. How others react to my no is none of my business. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Hey, hey.
All right. So we're right back. And Toni, pull it all together for us. What have we really talked about today?
We've talked about play. We've talked about knowing, being in the know. You know, what do we know right now? Lean into that. Don't be impressed by the uncertainty.
Mm.
You know, if you don't know nothing else, like what actually feels good? What are the foods that feel good? Who are the people that feel good? What are the conversations that feel good? What is the music? In a time where uncertainty seems like it is taking over the world, you can drop into what feels good. Even if it is, even if it's not your self-care ritual and plan. Because there's days where you're looking at your ritual and what you do, like journaling. I don't feel like doing that. I don't feel like something's off. I don't know. to just follow the yellow brick road, follow the crumbs. What feels good? Take a shower, take a bath, eat pancakes or eat fruit, just walk yourself through it. So, I believe that pleasure, that play, that feeling good is such a guiding light. As we go through these times of uncertainty, as we go through these times of like chaos and fear and terror is amplified in the main eye in media, in conversations, in business, because everything is accommodating it. I think it's so important to hone in on your own present moment of like, what feels good? And I'm telling you, whatever that is, you protect it like it's a newborn baby. Mm. Even if you doubt it, like, man, these boundaries don't feel right. I need to be there for such as, be open to making mistakes. Like, even if you're feeling good, that, it's like, even if it's like, man, I'm going to eat all of these cookies and it feels great. Be open to feeling good being a mistake, but you cannot allow yourself, we cannot afford to continue to live in a state where we are not at ease in our own bodies and our own life. So that's what I feel is true. I feel that that's something that we need to constantly remind ourselves over and over again. What are my emotional goals today? What do I want to feel today? Such and such passed away. How do I want to handle this? What does the version of me who loved myself need to do in this moment? I just got this new job that's going to create more, whatever, labor. How do I want to approach this? You know what I'm saying? It could be good news or bad news, whatever you want, but always go back to, how do I want to feel? How do I want to approach this in a way that is kind to me? So, yeah.
That feels so good. Thank you.
Doesn't it?
Yes.
Gosh, it's always there. It's always there, and it gets me emotional because it's like, love is really the answer. Self-love is truly the answer, and you and is never, how you always think something is outside of you. There's something outside of you that's going to put you on. It's just going to bring everything together. And it's like, no, that thing that you've imagined has been with you the whole time, and so you get to be the one to be that,
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Thank you. And for those of you who are viewing and listening, receive.
Yes.
Receive and share, because sharing is loving. And share this with another heart and with another soul. Thank you for joining us, and good night.
I was born for this. I've been marked to be countercultural, proclaiming spirit over everything. It is a blessing to be a woman with a wild mind to expand past popular thought. I'm awakening from the cultural hypnosis and mind-controlling ideologies of the self, spirit, and what's real about life. What is the most authentic thing I can do right now? Every choice I make belongs to me and no one else. I was made on purpose.